All right, gang, I've got my live cat, I've got my shrine to my dead cat. Let's talk about Papa Bear. Today's update is about Ahmed. If you've read the script, you know he's he's the best friend character, and he is loosely based on my real life best friend, Griffin Rowell. If you know our stuff from Small Beans, the podcasting network, you probably know Griffin. He's been on a couple shows and hosted a show. And when I say loosely based on, I think it's a good chance to talk about how fictionalized this movie actually is, because Ahmed has almost no characteristics in common with Griffin. Sorry, Griffin, but he's actually a composite character. He's based on Griffin in the sense that several key scenes that happen to Ahmed happen to Griffin. If you read the old draft or heard our movie production diaries, there used to be a scene where, well, I'll just say as it really happened to Griffin, we all were getting out of the spa, and Griffin went to shower, and he took it upon himself, I must point out, to go to rather than using the guest bathroom to shower, to open my dad's bedroom, closed door, and go in and shower in there because it was a nicer bathroom. You're ruining my update. And showered with like this silver bullet thing and came out. Was like, the pressure was really good. And my dad was like, you shouldn't have showered with that. It goes up your butt. It's like a prostate stimulator. So, you know, funny stuff like that happened growing up. And the tater tot sequence, which is a lot of people's favorite sequence in the film, and that did make it to the current draft. Honestly, what's funny is that silver bullet thing, we had enough feedback where people were like, that's kind of too far for Hank to let his newfound love of his sexual identity impinge upon the family. We want him to be flawed so he has a character arc, but that's kind of too far. And I'm like, that's true though, that actually happened. I love it when shit that actually happens is like a hat on a hat. For example, in real life, my dad's persona is not Papa Bear, but Cyber Bear, a cybernetically enhanced bear. But we thought that that was too many elements to cram in. Back to Ahmed, and how we end up dramatizing this stuff. So we want to discuss not just Trey's, understanding of that it's fine that his dad is a furry, and at the same time, Hank's understanding that his newfound sexual identity is liberating and empowering, and he should be proud, but it doesn't negate that he has a relationship with his son to maintain. Those are sort of, the arcs that they're both on. But I think savvy viewers, we hope, will pick up on, we also really wanted to make it an ensemble piece and almost an essay, a lot juicier, more interesting emotionally, hopefully, and engaging and funnier and more heart than an essay. There's some good essays out there, but you know what I mean, less dry than that. But by that I mean that structurally, we sort of consider it an ensemble piece, even though because of the strictures of how screenplays work, some of the characters may have more or less screen time, but we consider like Arturo, Sarah, Trey, Ahmed, and Hank all on a journey that almost all humans alive have to go on, which is the journey towards coming to terms with, finding peace with, and loving your own sexual identity, proclivities, interests, and that it's unique. That sexuality, like gender, but let's not conflate them, is a spectrum, and that as everything in the universe is, but this is like a message that people seem to need to still hear, and that everyone's sexuality is a journey and complex and has challenges, and maybe you figure it out by the end of puberty. Maybe in your mid-30s, that seems common to me. Maybe like my dad, you don't figure it out till much later in life. And that's the unique experience that we wanted to show through Hank. But back to Ahmed. So Ahmed is based on a confabulation of Griffin. Sorry, I also want to point out, which I always feel the need to point out, that one thing we're dramatizing is that when my dad came out as a furry, I was actually fine. It wasn't a huge deal. But you gotta have stakes for the movie to work. You want to take homophobes on a journey with Trey to going, oh, maybe they're not so bad. where was I? Oh, so Ahmed is a confabulation of Griffin, but also this guy we knew in college, Andy C., and I'm not going to say his name because he didn't agree to be in the screenplay per se, but I'm just lifting an anecdote from his life, so I'm hoping that that's okay, like writer observation stuff. But Andy, like Ahmed, in college, took a job categorizing porn. And if you don't know, that's actually a terrible job. And as a young man, towards the end of puberty, going to college, like Ahmed, he thought this was going to be fucking great. He's horny all the time. And, and yet it completely distorted his view of sex for a while there and relationships, and made dating very difficult, and gave him some thoughts that were not helpful, thought patterns that were not helpful, which he saw later. And part of that, I encourage you to look at like these exposés about what it is like to have that job, even for normal YouTube, because you're getting the raw feed. You're seeing like murders and mutilations and decapitations, and you're the person who marks that as, oh, that shouldn't be on YouTube. And the porn version is you're seeing awful shit, and you're like, that was non-consensual. We can't post that. So you can imagine how traumatizing some of this stuff is, not to mention just the sheer inundation of porn making you feel that when you do finally have sex as a young person, or whenever you lose your virginity, that it's going to be like porn, right? This is a common trope that I think our generation and younger generations are used to, because it wasn't too long ago that you didn't have a faucet of any porn you could think of and type the words in from the time you first became interested in sex. And we do now, and we probably will, like in the future of humanity, young people will have that and sneakily find access to it. So the question becomes, how's that affecting us? And we're not just, obviously we don't have a puritanical view, so we're not just condemning it, but it's a complex issue, right? Being inundated with sex, we support sex workers, we support positive public sexuality, but obviously there's lots of issues with the porn industry, and then even from the viewpoint of the consumer, as it were, we're trying to tackle how it fucks you up in some ways. I think I said that right. We're not like condemning porn, we're investigating how too much of anything sort of warps your brain a bit. And highly processed things, like a lot of porn is, right? Processed, distorted things give you a distorted view of reality. So that's what Ahmed's going through, and it gave me a chance to touch on how we dramatize stuff. The film is highly, highly dramatized, meaning it's loosely based on my childhood, but I think we deserve credit for creating some of the characters and writing it out. And I'm really excited to talk to you about the other characters, especially Sarah and Arturo, and I will do that on a future update. I will say, at the end, wrapping up here, pledges have been tapering off. If you're watching this, you probably already pledged. Thank you so, so much. We really want to make this movie. We've been working on it for 6-7 years. And in the larger sense, we just really want to make a movie to prove that we can. We made Kill Me Now, but it was a decade ago, and we didn't really have full control. We didn't actually direct it, or a budget that we were happy with, or a working situation we were happy with. We've already surpassed that budget with money that we have in the tank from investors behind the scenes, but we really need this crowdfunding piece to get to where we want to be and include things like the Climactic Furry Convention and stuff like that. So if you're seeing this and hearing my words and you're on the fence, please consider falling off the fence on the side that I want you to. All right. Thanks so much, y'all. Talk to you next time.